Hey everybody, what's up? I'm bringing you a story from Cinema Blend today, and they're talking about the Witcher petition, which has reached so many signatures. It's way over 100,000. They're saying a little over 100,000. They don't even say how much it actually is, which is close to 150,000. You see, there's a petition out right now for Henry Cavill to come back to Netflix as The Witcher, and for the writers to be replaced instead of him. They are not happy about Liam Hemsworth. They don't want him as The Witcher, even though he clearly does want to be The Witcher. And we're going to get a little bit into why they don't want him back, or why they want Henry Cavill back as The Witcher, and why they don't want Liam, as well as why they want the writers and creator of the show removed. Now, it has been a trying few days for Netflix subscribers who are fans of The Witcher. Less than 2 weeks ago, lead Henry Cavill let viewers know that he was laying down my medallion and my swords for season 4, meaning that the upcoming third season of the fantasy hit would be his last, portraying the monster-fighting Geralt of Rivia, and announced that Liam Hemsworth was already on board to take up the mantle. As you might imagine, many are not happy that he's left the show, and now they've called out Netflix in a new petition that's already racked up well over 100,000 signatures. It's really insane. They clearly want Henry Cavill back. What does the Witcher petition say about Henry Cavill and Netflix? I'm sure that many people at first assumed that the newly reinstated Superman actor was backing away from his role on the series because of his increased responsibilities for the Warner Bros. Properties. Remember, everybody was like, well, because he's leaving The Witcher, it's probably because he has to play Superman. He can't do both, obviously. But it wasn't long before fans started to assemble a story that might have some basis in reality. The general thought is that Cavill wanted to stick more closely to the books on which the show is based, while the writer/showrunner had a very different idea. And it's very obvious in the writing of the show that they were pushing for hardcore, strong female and step all over the men, don't just barely show The Witcher at all, make the whole story center around Ciri, and I understand the books center around Ciri a lot, but everybody watches The Witcher for Henry Cavill. They watch it for Geralt, the actual Witcher that they play as the main character in the games. I'm a huge fan of the Witcher games. I have like over 200 hours on my first Witcher 3 playthrough. I love those games, man, big time. Anyway, let's move on. And the popular Change.org petition, which was started on Halloween and is titled "Netflix, You Must Keep Henry Cavill as the Witcher and Replace the Writers Instead," calls this out, noting, if you think it sounds somewhat far-fetched that those who were crafting the storylines for the drama literally hated the source material, know that this idea hasn't come from out of left field. Just a few days before this big news was announced, a former producer was answering fan questions about his new show when he directly called out the writers on The Witcher, saying they were not fans of or actively disliked the books and games, even actively mocking the source material. I didn't actually know they mocked the source material itself, but that's pretty crazy. On top of that, we got another potential update when a report came out suggesting that Cavill was so put off by the direction of the series that he considered leaving after only the second season. That's crazy. With him wanting a new version of Geralt that hewed more closely with that in the books being at least one reason. When you combine these things with how openly the actor talked about his love for the books and video games, and those behind the scenes saying how hard he campaigned for the job and worked to fully embody his character, the position taken by the petition does make some sense. It makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. He was clearly not happy with the direction of the show, and he asked for changes, and they refused, and then he ended up just giving up the role. And then they filled it up really fast. I mean, they picked Liam Hemsworth just like that. That's crazy. As of this writing, that petition has 139,251 signatures, but after sitting and watching the counter for a little over a minute, I can tell you that that number is sure to go up, and fast, as there was about one new signature per second. That's wow. I mean, that's the fans speaking out for you. Part of the pledge that fans are making when they sign it is to stop watching the show when Cavill's work is done at the end of season 3, and to potentially cancel their Netflix subscriptions as well, which has been a part of fan campaigns to save canceled shows before. The petition concluded with this nod to another hated fantasy show decision. I doubt that anything fans do will lead to the lead actor's return and the entire writing staff being replaced, but at least they've made their displeasure known. I mean, you never know what could happen. I've seen crazier things happen. But let's take a look at this petition itself, because I want you guys to be able to see this. Okay, this is the actual website. I have it minimized just a little bit so you can't see everything, but the title says, "Netflix, you must keep Henry Cavill as The Witcher and replace the writers instead," by the way. I will leave the link to the article and the link to this petition as well in the description, so you guys can take a look yourselves, so you're not just like, oh, what did the title say? I didn't see the whole thing. It would have been nice if you put the link there. I'm sorry, guys, but there you go. I'll put it in there for you, all right? But we'll read a little bit of this so you can just get the gist of what there is. It's not much to read, but here you go. Andrzej Sapkowski himself said about Henry Cavill, I was more than happy with Henry Cavill's appearance as The Witcher. He's a real professional. Just as Viggo Mortensen gave his face to Aragorn, so Henry gave his to Geralt, and it shall be forever so. Henry isn't leaving The Witcher because of Superman. Netflix executives have once again made a grave decision against delivering for their fans. The reason why The Witcher is such a popular show is the fans love the source material of books and games that are hated by and have actively been mocked by the writers and showrunner. Henry Cavill is one of those big fans. He knows all of it inside and out and wanted to stay true to Sapkowski's world, which is why Netflix wants to replace him. Let us show them in pure numbers and thus lost money, because that's all they really care about, that none of us Witcher fans will stand with them and will abandon the show and potentially our subscriptions. You guys remember my last video on this, I covered that statement from them as well. After The Witcher Season 3 is concluded, Netflix can only exist because all of us pay them monthly to produce content that is entertaining for us. Unfortunately, all public information points towards a production team making decisions that are completely opposite to the fans' our interests. We already had to suffer through the disaster that was the end of Game of Thrones. Oh, I agree. Netflix don't repeat the same exact mistake of holding on to writers and showrunners that believe themselves to be superior to the actual creator of the stories that made them successful. And honestly, I agree, but I have no idea if Henry Cavill would come back, nor do I think that he wants to. It just seems like he's trying to steer away from it. But, you know, if he really is a fan of The Witcher like that deeply, if he cares about it as much as the fans do, and he wants to do the role, he may come back. I mean, you really never know with this stuff, but there's clearly just some bad stuff that's gone on behind the scenes with the Witcher series. And after season 3, I mean, I am expecting there to be a huge drop off in viewership after that. I mean, clearly that people just aren't excited about Liam Hemsworth right now, but well, I want to see maybe the signatures will just insurmountably increased by tomorrow. So I'm going to keep taking a look at that and then keep you guys informed if anything crazy changes. And that's it. I hope you all have a beautiful day. Like and share this video, subscribe, click that notification bell, and I hope to see you guys again next time.